Once upon a time in a small, quiet village nestled at the foot of a lush mountain, there lived an elderly gardener named Samuel. Samuel was known far and wide for his extraordinary garden, which was a vibrant tapestry of colors, filled with flowers of every kind, fruit-bearing trees, and vegetables that were always in abundance. People from neighboring villages often marveled at how everything Samuel planted seemed to flourish, even in the harshest seasons. One day, a young man named Jacob, struggling with the challenges of life, decided to visit Samuel. Jacob was facing failures in his work, strained relationships, and a sense of purposelessness. He had tried everything to improve his situation, but nothing seemed to work. Hearing about Samuel's incredible garden, he thought that perhaps the old man could offer some wisdom to help him turn his life around. When Jacob arrived at Samuel's garden, he was awestruck by its beauty. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the sound of birds singing harmoniously. Samuel, who was tending to a bed of roses, greeted Jacob with a warm smile. "What brings you here, young man?" Samuel asked, noticing the worry in Jacob's eyes. Jacob sighed and said, "I've been struggling in life, Samuel. No matter how hard I work, nothing seems to grow or flourish, not in my career, my relationships, or even in my own heart. I've heard about your garden and wondered if you could share your secret with me." Samuel chuckled softly, his eyes twinkling with kindness. "Ah, the secret to a flourishing garden," he mused, "it's not as mysterious as you might think. Come, walk with me." As they strolled through the garden, Samuel began to explain. "You see, Jacob, the secret isn't in the seeds I plant or the soil I use. It's in how I tend to the roots. Just like in life, the roots represent the foundation of everything you wish to grow. If you don't nurture the roots, no amount of effort will make the plant flourish." Jacob listened intently as Samuel continued. "The first thing you must understand is patience. Just as a plant takes time to grow, so do the fruits of your labor in life. Many people give up too soon because they don't see immediate results. But you must trust the process and give things time to develop." They stopped by a row of trees laden with ripe apples. Samuel picked one and handed it to Jacob. "These trees took years to bear fruit. During that time, I made sure their roots were deep and strong. I watered them, gave them the right nutrients, and protected them from harm. The same goes for your life. You need to invest time and care in your roots, your values, your relationships, your skills, and your character." Jacob took a bite of the apple, savoring its sweetness. "But what if the roots are damaged?" he asked. "What if things go wrong despite all the care?" Samuel nodded thoughtfully. "That does happen, Jacob. No garden is without its challenges. Sometimes the soil isn't right, or pests try to attack the plants. But here's where resilience comes in. You must adapt and find solutions. If the soil is poor, you enrich it. If pests come, you protect your plants. In life, this means being flexible and resourceful. Don't be afraid to change your approach when things aren't working." They continued walking until they reached a corner of the garden where some plants were wilting. Samuel knelt beside them and gently pruned the dead leaves. "This is another lesson," he said. "Sometimes, you have to let go of what no longer serves you. It's hard to cut away what you've nurtured, but if you don't, it will drain energy from what's still healthy. In life, this might mean letting go of toxic relationships, unfulfilling jobs, or old habits that hold you back." Jacob felt a sense of clarity as Samuel's words began to resonate with him. He realized that he had been so focused on the outcomes, on the fruits, that he had neglected the roots. He hadn't given himself the time to grow, nor had he nurtured the foundations of his life with the care they needed. As they returned to the entrance of the garden, Samuel placed a hand on Jacob's shoulder. "Remember, Jacob, the secret to a flourishing garden and a flourishing life is the same: nurture the roots with patience, care, and resilience. Trust the process, and in time, you will see the fruits of your labor." Jacob left the garden that day with a renewed sense of purpose. He began to apply Samuel's wisdom in his life, focusing on building strong foundations in his work, relationships, and personal growth. Slowly but surely, he started to see positive changes. His career began to take off as he honed his skills with patience and persistence. His relationships deepened as he nurtured them with care and attention. Most importantly, he felt a newfound peace within himself, knowing that he was on the right path. Years later, Jacob returned to the village, successful and content. He visited Samuel's garden once more, this time with a small sapling in hand. "I've come to plant this here," Jacob said, smiling at the old gardener who had changed his life. Samuel beamed with pride as they planted the sapling together, a symbol of the growth and wisdom that had taken root in Jacob's life. The story of the gardener's secret teaches us that success and fulfillment in life come from nurturing the foundational aspects of our lives, our values, relationships, skills, and character. Patience, resilience, and the willingness to adapt are essential to growth. Just as a gardener tends to the roots to ensure a flourishing garden, we must tend to the roots of our lives to achieve lasting success and happiness.